So we finished off the big cleanup and it's all been reassembled, ready to be put away and lubricated. And what I notice looking around here, Tim, is one hell of a collection.
Oh yeah.
Of ham radio equipment. And probably more than just ham radio equipment, I would imagine.
Well, a lot of it's military in origin. It's stuff going back to 1939. That's probably about the oldest radio I have. These were two identical receivers as I have in the living room, the AR-88s. That's a CR-88. These are AR-88s. They were used at Bletchley Park. Those are the radios they used to receive German signals at Bletchley Park.
These exact radios?
Well,
you could say they are.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
It had Bletchley written in pencil on the back here.
This one was Royal Canadian Air Force. It was a Royal Canadian Air Force blue when I first got it when I was a teenager. And I had to refinish it because it looked awful. But eventually I'll paint it. And this one, I think this is also Canadian military. It's got a tag on it.
Yeah.
But they're manufactured in Ontario.
Great.
For the war effort. This is a military, this is a U.S. Army R390A, probably circa 1960, roughly. Excuse me. And
I see a lot of these, you have two of the same ones. You tend to
well, those were Dad's, the Hammerland 129, HQ 129s. He had a couple of those. He was really fond of those radios. And
so your dad would actually use these?
Yeah, oh yeah, he had them set up with transmitters, a little transmitter here that he had that he built when I was a teenager. Him and I built that together down in the basement. He mostly did it.
Yeah, which obviously you learned a lot from it.
Oh yeah.
You picked up the passion from him.
Over here we got some transmitters. This is a Korean War 1951 issue BC 610. This would have been a command post radio or mounted in a mobile communications truck, along with the receiver. That receiver over here would have been the matching receiver, BC 343. So they would have had that all set up.
And this was for battlefield communications?
Battlefield, but more headquarters and command post communication. More the central stuff that the battalions would radio back to a central location.
Right.
So,
and what would these have for antennas? So obviously, would they carry antennas with them?
Yeah, they would. They would have whip antennas, but they'd also have wire antennas, which they had poles for. They were trained in detaching these things very quickly.
Kind of like a MASH unit, but it was a MASH unit for communications.
Yeah.
And this is your antenna connection system.
Yeah,
here,
this
right?
is
so you have antenna stuff coming in from
system.
outside here.
Yeah.
And from various long lines and different antennas out there. Then you can patch together.
Different radios in different parts of the house or in this room. These are two transmitters that I built. AM transmitters, varying powers.
So when you say AM, are we
amplitude
thinking
modulation,
like an AM radio?
Like an AM radio, voice. Yeah,
okay.
A carrier, a modulated carrier. And then I've got more the radios there, some more Nationals and Hammerlands and Heathkit and B&W and Collins and Viking and Hallicraft.
That's a lot of weight.
It is.
And a lot of tubes.
A lot of tubes.
And
luckily, I have a lot of
tubes.
I've got thousands of them in the basement.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder where they came from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then over here, this is test equipment for making it all work.
Yeah.
So you rebuild a lot of these things,
service them. I try to keep them going as best as possible when the passion hits. It's not a full-time thing. It could be a full-time thing if you wanted to, but it's not. It is very time-consuming.
There must not be too many people left in Canada that can actually service these things.
I think most electricians, most electronics technicians would be able to figure it out if they had the manual. They're not overly complicated, but there's little things that people, the old timers would know. People who deal with them a lot that the new techs wouldn't understand.
Right. How much a demand do you think there is for them?
Not much anymore. Not much. It's a lot of old men that are passing away, and once who knows? Like I was once a young person surrounded by old people with radios. And all it takes
Yep.
is one stupid young person to get impassioned
Show
about
some
this
interest.
stuff, and as you can see, you can collect a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
and it just gets cheaper with every generation.
and like we talked about with our book, with the bookstore and analog, it's all analog price items, and younger people actually are pretty keen on what that was all about. They've never seen it before, and they show some interest, and somebody will pick it up, especially when they realize that they could actually make them work.
Absolutely.
And
And
who could you talk to with these?
I talk to people in the United States all the time, down in Washington and Oregon and Montana, California, Florida, New York. I've talked to Europe, but not too often on them. AM's not very effective for long distance, super long distance.
Right.
But medium distance, like the United States, not too bad.
But with the right antenna
Yep.
and the right conditions, and we're talking sunspot conditions and
Atmospheric, ionosphere.
conditions,
Yep.
you can run the signal, bounce the signal right around to the other side of the globe, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's fascinating stuff. Most people,
Well, it is.
most people have no idea that you could do that without.
magic.
You're not actually. Yeah, it is.
Not
It's
many
magic.
people think about it. You got radios. We're using radio microphones. You got
Yeah.
radio in there, and we don't even think about it. Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
We take it for granted, but it's quite a powerful medium.
very true.
There's an old. That's out of a Lancaster bomber. That
The one right at the top there.
yeah, that receiver there.
It
the radio next
still
to it.
operate. Do you think?
That one does not. I have not got around, and neither did Dad to getting it going. It's got English valves, and
And valves are tubes.
tubes, yeah, and the circuitry, a lot of the parts, electronic parts that Britain was getting at that time were very subpar. So all the resistors are out of spec, the capacitors are blown,
You're right.
the valves are obscure. The other radio next to it, that was out of a B-17 bomber.
That little black one.
Yeah. And the other one there was one Dad picked up. That was from the BC Forest Service. That was what a forestry officer would have taken into the field circa 1940 to communicate back to
Could
the
you,
fort.
could you imagine carrying this stuff
Yeah.
around?
Exactly.
I mean, now we complain about these little phones carrying them around.
That was the predecessor to the SBX-11.
Oh, that little
That
one that
you and Ben took up.
that I took on my canoe trip
Yeah.
years back.
So
Excellent, very interesting, fascinating. We'll have to talk about why you ended up with all of these, but we'll do that. We'll do that in a few minutes.
why not?
Okay.